Vietnam is located in the center of Southeast Asia. Its neighboring countries consist of China, Laos, and Cambodia. In the past, Vietnam was ruled under a system of command economy. Everything was state-owned and all investment and production decisions were made by its government. By 1987, the country was open to investors and numbers of strategies were later implemented to attract foreign direct investments. Some strategies include trade deal, ease of investment and tax rules, improvements in infrastructure, and improvements in education system. As a result, up to 17% of Vietnam's economy was made by value-added manufacturing in 2016. This video explores the business environment and opportunities for international companies to establish business in Vietnam. Vietnam's economic outlook had been optimistic since its economic reform in the last 20 years. With the emergence of new middle class, its GDP had been continuously growing over the past 5 to 6 years, and the growth rate is sustained at 6%. This growth rate is pushed by the structural reform and liberalization, which led to an increase in foreign direct investment, strong domestic consumption, productivity gain, and its transition towards export-led manufacturing. Despite the country's low rate of GDP, at a margin of $183, the life expectancy of Vietnamese is on par with Europe in 2017. Also, with the government's effort to enhance its population's quality of life, up to 33% of total government budget is dedicated to education. As a result, Vietnamese students are at the same league with European students, enabling it to be a country with high output but lower endowment. The overall business environment in Vietnam for international companies is positive. This is largely contributed by the government's open arms for almost every sector's market entry and a stabilized macroeconomic environment, which makes licensing and operation much easier for investors. This is enhancing Vietnam's competitiveness when compared with other countries such as China, which on the other hand is promoting private domestic investment. Locational advantage is also presented in Vietnam as its border is only 800 miles apart from China, which makes it inexpensive to import raw materials and supplies for factory work. As of now, Vietnam's growth in exports are mainly driven by fast-growing manufacturing, telecommunications, clothing, apparel sectors. Its GDP is made up of 50% services, 17% agricultural, and 33% manufacturing. In terms of workforce and cost of living, Vietnam offers great financial advantage for international firms. The country has over 91.7 million populations, and the rate is expected to grow at 1.3% annually. Of the total population, up to 60% is under 25 years old, and approximately 12% are considered trained or skilled. This minimizes labor supply risk for international firms compared to locating in areas with aging population. Among other Asian countries, the cost of living in Vietnam is relatively lower, with an average wage of $2,200, which is 20% lower than the rate in China. Meanwhile, Vietnamese are hardworking and fast learners, thus, companies are paying less for higher efficiency when compared with other countries. Trade has also been made easier after Vietnam negotiated free trade agreements and became a member of ASEAN and bilateral FTAs. The Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement was recently discussed in 2016. This will give a great opportunity for Vietnam to gain greater share of apparel and footwear market as it allows export of finished products to the US without any tariffs. This will greatly enhance Vietnam's competitiveness and enable multinational companies to exploit this benefit to obtain lower costs. Thus, companies could gain benefits through financial advantages of lower wage and the absence of tariffs. In terms of legal and regulatory regime, numbers of policies are issued to encourage enterprise and foreign investment. Nevertheless, there are restrictions in foreign ownership of certain industries such as financial services, logistics, telecommunication, mining, and utilities. On the other hand, the government also offers favorable tax rate to foreign investors. While the normal prevailing rate is at 35%, foreign companies get tax cuts and some were even given 0% tax deal. With this, companies are encouraged to establish in Vietnam as a reduction in tax can greatly contribute to decrease in overall costs and increase in net profits. Intel, the world's biggest semiconductor company, is a good example of international firm which is able to successfully capture opportunities in Vietnam. In 2006, the company announced its decision to invest $1 billion to build its largest chip assembly and testing plant in Vietnam. Intel was offered a great tax deal. It is to be exempted from paying corporate taxes for the first 4 years, with 50% tax break in the following 9 years. After that, tax rate will remain constant at merely 10%. During its operation, local staffs and engineers were sent to outbound factories for training to enhance their skills and knowledge. This can be perceived as a win-win solution for both Vietnam and Intel, as it helps contribute to the country's socio-economic development, as well as their effectiveness and efficiency for doing their jobs. It was observed that Vietnamese are highly effective. It took them less than 2 months to be certified for production of Haswell processors, which is an unexpected success due to the product's complexity. In addition, Vietnamese employees are reported to be very adaptive to Intel technologies, where the error rate of chips that are made in Vietnam is extremely low that no complaints or requests for return had ever been made. Thus, in 2016, Intel announced its decision to produce 80% of new Generation 4 chips sold worldwide in Vietnam. As a conclusion, business opportunities for international companies in Vietnam lies in 6 major areas. First is its new FTAs, which gives favorable terms of trade, followed by its competitive cost production base with young and growing workforce. Lastly, it is a fast-growing economy with reliable government who are committed to growth and continuous infrastructure development. Key to success is an extensive research and assessment prior making decisions whether to invest, as different locations are suitable for different businesses in terms of risk, customers, partners, contacts, and stakeholders.